Alright, so we know a lot of this stuff. We know all about Incursion, obviously. Alva Valai, which, her name, I love, very much so. Anyway, added 39 new Labyrinth enchants for existing skills and 43 for new skills. What? Why? Who? What? Enchantments for existing skills which have undergone significant rework may not appear anymore due to mechanical changes making them non-functional, my dudes. Such as enchantments which modify the cooldown of trap skills. Existing versions of these enchantments will now grant increased damage with that skill at the same value. Added 6 dangerous new Nemesis mods. What? Where did that come from? What? 6 new dangerous Nemesis mods? I think those are bestiary mods, by the way. Like, it has to be, right? Dangerous. Spice it up. I mean, that's awesome. Hell yeah. All about it. I bet it's gonna be broken as fuck on release, and I bet I'm gonna die to it, and I bet I'm gonna be real angry. But at least I'm gonna have fun up until then. Character balance. Modifiers to skill duration no longer modify the duration of traps, totems, or mines, but will continue to modify the duration of skills cast by traps, totems, and mines. If those skills have a duration, will continue to modify the duration of skills cast by traps, totems, and mines if those skills have a duration. That's an amazing change, because this means now that you can scale a lot of your stuff a lot better with like trap duration, right? If you want to pop with like a sunblast and you get increased duration, it doesn't fuck it over anymore. It's like a lot of nice quality of life. And yeah, you can play lightning ward totems now because your totems don't expire after 2 seconds. Traps. The interaction between trap skills with cooldowns and sources of additional traps thrown, such as the multiple traps or cluster trap support, has been changed, and now works as they did with Vol Lightning Trap previously. Namely, additional traps can only be thrown if the skill has at least 1 extra trap cooldown stockpiled, and only as many additional traps will be thrown as there are cooldowns stockpiled. In other words, you have 3 seismic traps stockpiled and have the Shaper's additional trap glove mod. You'll throw 2 traps and consume 2 seismic trap cooldowns. If you only have 2 cooldowns stockpiled and attempt to throw 3 seismic traps via the multiple traps support, you will only throw 2 traps. Which makes sense, kind of. I mean, it makes sense if they change a lot of things. I don't get it. Basically, I mean, it's best explained here. Just read this sentence again. Like before, for instance, with Lightning Trap, the biggest problem was the fact that you just wouldn't have enough traps. But if you were to use a Cluster Trap support gem, every time you throw multiple traps, right? Because you're throwing multiple with the Cluster Trap support gem, it will only eat up 1 charge. Now, it will eat up the entirety of your charges because you're trying to throw more traps than you actually have the cooldown off. But that's why they changed a lot of the abilities to have no cooldown. Like Lightning Trap doesn't have a cooldown anymore. Or Trap Support Gem doesn't have a cooldown anymore. And so this way, certain abilities can still be held back. Like for instance, the Uber abilities, right? Like Flamethrower Trap that we saw earlier. You wouldn't be able to throw 3 of them. I mean, you can, but you'll literally throw 3 of them, and then you have an 8-second cooldown on each individual trap, at which point you won't be able to throw 3 ever again, because you won't ever have time to regenerate more than 1, because it takes 8 seconds to retrieve it. Yeah? So, I don't know. We'll see how this turns out. We'll see how it feels. Gotta wait and see. Fire Trap no longer has a cooldown, now requires level 12, now deals 7 to 11 damage when triggered at gem level 1, up from 2 to 4, up to 410 to 616 at gem level 20. The Burning Ground creates now deals 24.1 fire damage per second at gem level 1, which is a fuck ton, by the way, that's a lot. Up from 3.6. Yeah, but that's, you're comparing a level 12 gem to a level 1 gem, right? Just keep that in mind. in terms of level requirements, just so it gives you an idea. But this is still a lot. Up to 1,362 fire damage per second at gem level 20, up from 701. You think that's a lot, but here's the big one. This damage is now modified by spell damage modifiers. That's a big one. That's a big deal. Fire Trap's looking pretty hot. Pretty spicy. I'm pretty sure there's mention of some increased AoE aspects of it somewhere in here too. Base duration of Burning Ground is now 1.75 seconds, down from 8 seconds. Now has 1% increased fire damage per 1% gem quality. Previously had 3% increased burning damage per 2% gem quality. Now deals added fire damage against burning enemies. Now has added damage effectiveness of 200, up from 100, which is also a pretty big deal. But I mean, that ignite AoE though, you know, or burn AoE, burn ground. Bear Trap, it doesn't stop things in place, it applies a 80% maim instead. Okay, Lightning Trap, no cooldown. Well, actually, this is an interesting one for me personally, so I'll go over it. Now deals 14 to 41 lightning damage at gem level 1, from 3 to 62. So the average damage seems the same, slightly lower. No, it's actually the same, but it's more consistent, which is a big deal, because if you've ever leveled with Lightning Trap and you tried to speedrun, you know that the biggest thing to get is an offhand or a main hand that has flat cold or flat fire damage, because applying that base damage typically will provide you with enough damage to actually be one-shotting quite a bit more consistently. So that's a good change. Up to 279 to 838 at gem level 20 from... Oh, they actually... Even the end game they evened out. That's actually interesting. I'll talk about this in a second. It seems like it's basically the same. It's slightly more. Like 4% more or something. Okay, so the thing about this is that overall, this is a great change for Lightning Trap. However, for certain builds, this is kind of a nerf. Builds that relied on Lightning Trap Ignite, because the big thing about it was that it would hit many times, and therefore the probability of getting that high end Ignite was higher. And now you don't have that possibility anymore, but on a base, you won't have as big of a difference anymore. So, you know, consistency. I like consistency. Let's do it. Increased lightning damage per 1% quality. Increased shock effect per 2% gem quality. Oh, really? Huh. Wait, it had trap throwing speed before. What am I saying? GGG. How is this incredible value? Fuck you! They even put incredible value. They're trying to trick me. I like trap throwing speed more than fucking whatever damage. Nobody needs damage. What? Get the shit out of here. Now has 80% critical strike chance against shocked enemies, growing as the gem levels up to 118% at gem level 20. This isn't really a big deal. It's mostly a single target thing. Or, I mean, if you're like AoE shocking with your shield charge on an elementalist or something like that, you know, then yeah, that actually helps out a lot for consistency. But overall, yeah. I mean, remember that you still, now that Vol skills are attached, you basically always have Vol Lightning Trap as long as you have Lightning Trap. So that's a base critical strike chance of 6, up from 5. Okay, that's big. They nerfed Ice Trap. Oh no, no longer has a cooldown. Now deals 48 to 72 cold damage at gem level 1, from 60 to 90. Up to 414 to 620. Oh, they did nerf it. Huh. Has a lower mana cost at gem level. Levels up to 22 mana at gem level 20 from 25. I guess they were scared of like single target overlapping with it or something. Specific skill changes. Inferno Blow! You guys weren't kidding. Many skills have received significant balance or mechanical changes. As always, these changes affect all sorts of the skill. Oh wait, I remember reading about Inferno Blow. What the fuck? At 6 stacks of the debuff, the target explodes for 66% of base attack damage per debuff. And the debuffs are consumed. Monster slain by this explosion will still explode, dealing damage based on its life. At 6 stacks of the debuff, the target explodes for 66% of base attack damage per debuff, and the debuffs are consumed. Damn, it's actually pretty strong. So just one shots after you hit 6 times? I mean, if you've brought them up to 50% prior to that, then yeah, it will one shot. 7 shot. Now requires level 12, now has a added damage effectiveness and base damage of 100% at gem level 1. Man, this will be like... This is so strong. At the added damage effectiveness and base damage of 100% at gem level 1, down from 130 up to 123 at gem level 20, down from 160. Okay, that's actually not that much. It's still pretty dependent on explosions, and this makes the single target sound a little bit more iffy. Now gets additional melee range as it levels up to 3 at gem level 20. Oh, okay, never mind. I mean, well, it's useful, but it's not crazy, because the base AoE remains, and the scalability is, like, not there. Rain of Arrows! Previously dealt damage in an area based on weapon damage. Now fires a number of arrows across the area, dealing damage based on weapon damage with each one. Oh, that's what they mean. Okay. Half of these arrows will target enemies in the area, while the rest will target the area at set ranges from the center at random. Now has an added damage effectiveness and base damage of 40% at gem level 1, down from 110, up to 50% at gem level 20, down from 129. I mean, it did look like the guys were hitting mobs like 3+ times on average with this, but those are a little bit scary numbers. I don't know. You kind of have to see how it works mechanically. Charge Dash has like big changes, but a lot of it's just a different gem now, so it's really hard to tell. Because there's no overlap anymore, or like scalability with like walls and shit. Like, I really don't know. Alright, but we get some numbers on Incinerate, which you've also seen a lot of. Wait, they didn't change the damage numbers? Really? So this wave of 500% more damage in reality is a lot. What? Nah, they must have just forgotten. That's a lot. That's like a full-blown ability. That's got the average damage of a fireball. That's pretty big, man. I mean, we don't really know how big it is. We kind of have an idea, but we don't really know. But that's like a fireball. A fireball does a lot of damage. Grand Slam. Previously dealt damage in a cone in front of attacker based on weapon damage. I hope it still does that. I mean, we'll see how, like, actually nice the AoE is. From the videos that I saw, it didn't seem that nice. And Volt Ground Slam technically has been getting nerfed for a while now, too, so... This is pretty underwhelming. 48% more at close range. Yeah, but I don't feel like mechanically it really makes up to be comparable with other skills. So, like, it either needs to have, like, better stem possibilities, like it does, or it needs to just fucking do other things better. This is basically like, oh yeah, by the way, you can kind of deal single target damage now because you technically have more damage than you do with Reeve for single target, which is comparable damage, except it scales a lot better with like dual wielding. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I wish it got a little bit more juice, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something, don't really know. Patch notes, unreleased, still modifying. Cold Snap. We've read up a lot about this previously. Cold Snap's looking great. TLDR, yeah, it's got a lot of spice to it. And it's gonna work great. Power Siphon. We've also read up about this very recently, today. Some might even say like an hour or two ago. Power Siphon's looking great too. Wait, now automatically targets enemies in front of you. Each projectile will target a different enemy. Whoa, 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 hold up. I didn't see this before. That's better. It's not enough. to compare it to KB, and it's not unique enough to make it interesting versus playing something like KB. But that's pretty okay. I don't know. I do hope that they will follow up on a lot of this, because it's like, yeah, you can do it, but the whole time you can just take it out, because you're still going to be using GMP and you're still going to be using all the same things, with the exception being that you apparently need to pick up power charges on the skill tree for your Wander. So you can just take it out, put in KB, and it's gonna feel the same, just better. This would be different, I think, if like outdoor maps were rebalanced, but since we're in the indoor meta, I don't know. I hope that it will feel unique enough, but I think it's not quite there yet. Double Strike now deals 3 to 5 additional physical damage against bleeding enemies at gem level 1, up to 113 to 169 additional physical damage against bleeding enemies at gem level 20. That's a lot! That's a lot! Why? What the fuck? How much is chance to bleed? That's so much! What? That's like a lot. That's like 2.5 of a support gem for most builds. Pretty much. Now grants additional melee range as it levels, up to 3 at gem level 20. Damn! That's really a lot. Lacerate now gains up to +9 to area of effect radius at gem level 20, up from +5. That's a good start. No longer has 25% less attack speed. Yes! But still no. I mean, it'll feel a lot better. It seems like an alright gem, and it will be playable for all you Lacerate fans, but I don't know, I feel like there's so many other abilities that kind of have the same feeling, but they won't, they just are stronger in that way. Again, it'll be playable. I just don't see, like, I can't ever see myself wanting to play like a dual sword build and go, I really like the way Lacerate looks and feels over, you know, Reeve Frostblades or Lightning Strike, and I go, yeah, I'll play Lacerate. I just can't ever see myself in this situation. But yeah, again, if you're a big Lacerate fan, yeah, I think you'll have fun. Arc, the big elephant in the room, now deals 15% more damage for each remaining chain. That's fucking nuts. Unless they've modified the enchant for Arc and you can't get 3 chains, but even with 2 chains you can still get to a point where you're gonna get 10. So imagine Arc right now, add about 10% damage to it on a base, and then add 150% more damage, and that's your single target. That's fucking crazy. Then chains 4 times at level 1, up to 7 at level 20. 4 times at level 1! What the fuck? Okay, Arc is actually the best fucking caster leveling ability now. No joke. That's actually the, well, I mean, Firestorm is still a thing, but that's big. It hits 8 mobs at gem level 1. And in terms of damage, it's like 3/4 of a fireball plus 60% more damage, which is pretty big. Keep in mind, considering, you know, the inaccessibility of 4 links early on. It's big. That's fucking big. Elemental hit. Okay, so elemental hit is kind of a tough discussion right now. It does absurd amounts of damage, but there is one thing that is extremely worrisome, which is this. Alright. So there is one aspect of this that you might be worried about, my brother and my sister. Which you might think, how the fuck does this work with conversion? Because there are new threshold jewels that basically allow you to force a specific elemental type of of damage that you're going to be dishing out, right? But there's big confirmation of something that is pretty worrisome, which is here. But the answer to the question I think you meant to ask is yes, you can't convert the damage that wasn't chosen because by the time the choice is made, it's far too late to convert anything and the damage is gone at that point. You can convert some of the damage from one type to another, and then when you use the skill, it will not remove damage that is the type chosen, regardless of whether that damage was originally that type or not. If you convert all the lightning damage to cold, for example, if it chooses lightning, you'll deal no damage, and if it chooses cold, you'll deal a higher amount of cold damage. Which essentially means that you can scale it through multiple things due to the threshold jewels that lock it to a certain damage type. Which makes it ridiculous because it's like 1,700 added damage at face value at level 20. Okay, so what you can do, and this is on top of your regular damage, and 1,700 damage is double the amount of damage of a fireball, okay, in the current game, but it's on an attack. And on top of it, you obviously deal your base damage through it too. Which makes it fucking crazy. So I don't know. I think there's some misinformation about this because it's almost impossible. Because this will literally deal like absurd amounts of damage. Like stupidly ridiculous amounts of damage. So, I don't know, this just doesn't seem right. So, a lot of people are suspecting that Elemental Hit is going to be completely broken. So, I don't know, it doesn't seem right. Something seems off. But if that's actually the case, then, hey! You know what? Everybody's got a nice bow leveling ability, however you look at it. Anyway, Stormburst. This also is another one that baffles me. I haven't read through the patch notes, but from what I read before, it kind of blows my mind. But I never played Stormburst, so yeah, we'll see. I've never played a Stormburst build, and I don't know how much you need to scale, like the speed of it versus like the base damage. I've seen Mathil play it. In terms of AoE clearing, it looked unimpressive, but tripling something's over, like it's like 3.3 times the damage or something. You know, typically tripling something's damage makes it a pretty good ability. so I don't really know personally, but to me this shit's looking pretty good. But we'll see if it's actually worthwhile to play in terms of AoE clearing and whatnot, rather than just doing a single target. Orb of Storms! Didn't think I'm gonna see you here. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 45 up from 20. Increases to cast speed now affect Orb of Storm strike rate. Oh! That's cool. I have no idea how impactful it is, but that's cool. Alright, the thing that I'm particularly I think this is gonna be really meta. I think Ball Lightning was missing very little to be like really good, and I think they absolutely overshot it. So now deals 2 to 35 lightning damage at gem level 1, up from 2 to 32, huge buff, massive. Up to 22 to 420 lightning damage. So this, you might be reading this and you're like, okay, I guess. But there's more. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 35, up from 20, pretty big. The projectile's base speed is now 33% faster. The projectiles hit 33% more frequently to compensate. The base radius has increased by 10%. Oh, it's only 10%? I thought it's going to be like 25 at least. Yeah, it's big. That's okay. TLDR, it's fucking big. I think Ball Lightning is going to be comparable to Arc. I said it. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna deal single target with it unless you're gonna be like bow, Craig, stun, quiver, weapon swapping, something. I'm not sure, but I think it's gonna be big. I think Bull Lightning is one of those abilities that always had like a big potential to be really, really big, and I showed this a little bit earlier on stream. But the thing that it had a problem with was the fact that it just would not deal the fuck enough damage, dude. Not the fuck enough damage. But if you were to actually just take a quick look at the ability itself, and you were to be in a map, right? So this is like, if this shit is covered in mobs, that's a lot of mobs. What the fuck? It killed everything. That's a large area of effect, my dudes. And now it travels 33% further, I would assume, from what I'm gathering here. I think Bull Lightning was always one of those abilities that was very close to being very good, but it wasn't quite there. And now it might be. We'll see. I still don't know how you're gonna deal single target. Earthquake! The base delay between the initial attack and the aftershock is now 1 second, down from 1.5. Haha. The aftershock now deals more damage as gem levels, dealing 69%. Oof. More damage at gem level 20, up from 50%. Damn, going for those big numbers. Yeah, I don't know. I had like a 20-minute rant about how Vol Earthquake is the most retarded shit ever today. I don't want to really get into it, but there's a Vol Earthquake now. And by the way, you guys know, like, whenever you play Earthquake, like, for instance, I don't know. Let's go on YouTube real quick, right? You know how this gamer... Look at this playstyle, okay? It's like Leap Slam Sunder, except it's Leap Slam, Earthquake, 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 Leap. And then Earthquake, Earthquake, Earthquake... Okay, you get the idea. The new Vol Earthquake releases seismic slams when you walk. What the fuck? Alright, I'm not really gonna get into it. It's a long conversation, but for whatever reason, they thought it's a good idea to make the one ability in the game that's most dependent on fucking leap slamming out of anything in the entire planet and relies most on things like Combs Roots to scale with walking. I have no idea what they were thinking, but what the fuck, dude? I don't know. I feel like it's some sort of cruel joke or misunderstanding, or you can like fucking moonwalk in the air and that makes it so that you release explosions. I have no clue, dude. This shit doesn't seem right. That's ridiculous. Moving on. Firestorm now deals 4 to 11 fire damage at gem level 1, up from 4 to 10. Whoa! Up to 202 to 302 fire damage at gem level 20. Up from 162 to 240. Okay, 246, 243. For whatever reason, I thought it was higher before. I'm like, wait a minute, did they nerf it? Damn, dude, that's big. It's not that big, but Firestorm already needed so little to make it like slightly better. Frost Bomb. Ooh, big things for Frost Bomb. Oh man, that's crazy. It almost... Oh, it deals more damage than a fireball. That's impressive. This ability. Okay, let's read some more. So, before it was dealing less damage than a fireball with a 4-second cooldown, while also taking almost the same amount of time to explode, and now it deals slightly more damage than fireball. It has a 2-second cooldown, so you'll still never use it for damage, but instead, it has 5% more cold resistance penetration. I think the builds that used Frost Bomb before are still going to use Frost Bombs, and the builds that didn't will still not. Fireball, by the way. Now deals 7 to 10 fire damage at gem level 1, same as previously, up to 890 to 1,335. I lied! Oh no, Frostbomb is still slightly more. Still slightly more, motherfuckers, alright? Don't give me shit. This absolutely spammable ability, Frostbomb really needs that damage, dude. My single target Frostbomb really needs a damage increase. Who needs the cold penetration? Fireball never suffered from damage problems. Now has a cast time of 0.75. Wow, down from 0.85. That's really big. That's actually really big. Oh man, Fireball's gonna be strong. Ah, man. So basically you got a Fireball that at like half screen distance has the AoE of like Cold Snap and it ignites for a lot, except you can put a GMP on it. Flame Blast, by the way. Flame Blast meta. I'm really looking forward to that. Now deals 90% more damage with elements for each stage, up from 50%. Okay. Now has 5% chance to ignite for each stage. Now costs 3 mana, gem level 1, down from 6. Oh no, disappointed. It's still gonna be slow, dude. I mean, it's big deeps. It's big deeps. Is it bigger deeps than Fireball? It's comparable. I was kind of hoping that they're gonna make it so that Spell Echo works again, or they give it like some sort of cast speed multiplier per stage or something. I don't know. Spark. Projectiles now have a base duration of 2 seconds, up from 1.5. Cool. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 100%, up from 70. Oh, Self-Cast Spark. What do you know? Oh my god, Self-Cast Spark Nova. Duration tags are a thing. They changed the way that interacts. Oh my god. I mean, all you gotta do is equip an impulses, right? Blade Vortex now has a 35% increased hit rate for each blade, up from 10%. That's good. That's really good. Now deals 35% more damage with hits and ailments for each blade, up from 30% for hits and 20% for ailments. But wait. Now has 10% increased critical strike chance for each blade. Now has a limit of 10 active spinning blades, down from 20. Ooh. Basically, I think it's still a damage increase, or it stays about the same, but it's supposed to increase consistency, so it feels better for like clearing and all that sort of stuff. But I don't really know. Freezing Pulse! This is also a big one for SSF. Because Freeze Pulse, you know, it's a big thing. Now deals 7 to 11. Cold damage at gem level 1. Up to 798 to 1197. Damn, I've never read so many numbers. Cold damage at gem level 20. Up from 689 to 1034. Wow, that's significant. The projectiles now move more quickly at the start and slowly
decelerates.
Decelerate? Hey, I learned something new. The damage now drops to 50% of maximum distance, up from 0. It's big. Freeze Pulse? It's big. If you ever wanted to play Freeze Pulse... Oh, you know what? If you're one of those people who still thinks that Frostbolt totems are better than Freeze Pulse totems, fuck you. First of all. Second, now you really don't have an argument. Freeze Pulse all the way, alright? Play Freeze Pulse. Looking good. Vol skill changes. Whew, these are the big ones, my duders. Vol Lightning Strike. Previously infused enemies... Okay, we know what it did before. Now it touches an orb of lightning to the enemy it hits, or the ground if it does not hit an enemy. Now prevents you from gaining Vol Source for 8 seconds after use? This is shit! What the fuck? That's so bad! No! Oh man, I had really high hopes for this. Are you kidding? I'll show you guys a Lightning Striker. Plants a totem on the ground that has like 50% of my current damage. And for 8 seconds I can't reuse it again. Oh wait. So I don't really see how this gem is going to help me. GGG, maybe you can explain how this is fucking a useful ability for my build? How planting down a totem that will now attack in place for 50% less damage than what I'm doing right now is going to do anything. Alright, and you might be like, oh, but it's good for single target. But wait, that's a decoy totem and I do this. So I don't really... I mean, I guess it's useful for single target, but not really. And that's the SSF character too. It's just I can't see how this synergizes with the actual ability. You know, if you could like attach it to yourself, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool actually. But yeah, it would be Mirage Archer. But like even on a single target, this thing will attack like 3 times. For like 50% of your damage. I just don't see it being very synergetic, you know. I think they did a good job with synergizing like the abilities and what they do with like their main abilities to complement them. I feel like this just won't complement it particularly well. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'll still use it if it's there. So shit. Let's go. Volark. This is a perfect example of an ability that complements its main ability and has an actual synergy and works well. Unlike Vol Lightning Strike and Vol Earthquake. Vol Arc, sorry. Previously chained plus 40 times, now deals 38 to 64 lightning damage. It does a lot of damage, guys. It's like doubled of the arc. Now requires 25 souls per use, down from 32. 25 souls, by the way. Again, keep in mind that you get 3 souls per 2% of a boss's health, of a unique mob's health, with a 1 second cooldown on that, okay? So you can have this up in 8 seconds of continuously attacking a boss, with the duration being 4, I think, but I will get into that. It's pretty cool. That prevents you from gaining Vol Souls for 4 seconds after use! Only 4?! And the duration of this buff is 4 seconds too, by the way. Wow! Damn, only 4?! That's really good. That's really strong. Arc is really powerful. Damn. Damn, that you can almost have this up all the time. It's like you have it. Your arc has like an extra support gem. Then you use an ability that deals double the damage of your regular arc, so it kills everything even more than you would already kill everything. And then it can't charge for 4 seconds, but it only requires 25 souls, which means that literally any pack of mobs that you will attack in like yellow plus tier maps will grant you a full set. So like it's no downside. It's really strong. It's like really good. And for leveling, it's so powerful too. Damn. Volcold Snap. Okay, so this is the crazy ass AoE ability that we saw before. But yeah, Volcold Snap looking cool. Synergizes well with the Melian ability. It's like an empowered version of it. Cool, right? Alright, Vol Double Strike. Hopefully we're going to get some clarification. Now adds a melee range as it levels up to +3 at gem level 20. Now deals... Oh my god, they get the fucking flat? 3 to 5 additional physical damage against bleeding enemies at gem level 1, up to 113 to 169 additional physical damage against bleeding enemies at gem level 20. Now requires 30 souls to use with the capacity to store 2 uses. Now prevents you from gaining souls for 6 seconds after use. This thing's nuts! Holy crap, that's so much damage. Damn, Vol Double Strike is gonna be really fun to play. Whew. In 8 base duration too. That's a lot, man. That's gonna be so much fun. Holy shit. I can't wait to play this, honestly. And apparently it scales with your movement speed plus 50%. So obviously you can't affect it with your flasks, but like if it scales with your stuff, then it's pretty good. Yeah, Volrenovirus, again, another amazing skill that complements the main ability really well and feels like an actual fucking reasonable cooldown. Very cool. I love these, honestly. These things are so nice. Volgrand Slam now gains up to 9 radius, up from 6. Good, yeah. I mean, it was kind of already pretty big. Now requires 15 souls to use, down from 24, and can store up to 3 uses. Now prevents you from gaining Vol Souls for 2 seconds! Damn! Okay, Volgrand Slam's gonna feel fucking good. That's you know what? Taking how frequently you're able to use it, I think you can make a build that's going to have just enough for something like this. 2 seconds? That feels good. That feels good. If only they would do something with two-handers, Volgrand Slam would be like a legitimate ability for like a lot of builds. Like you could play it with Cyclone, you could play it with Sunder, you could play it with... Wow, man, this would feel so good with Sunder. If you could just fucking use two-handers. Man, that ability is really cool. Because it just complements melee so well, you know? It's a fucking big-ass Earthquake type of attack. And it just complements it so well. Full Righteous Fire. That's great. I really like that builds that don't use Righteous Fire can use Vol Righteous Fire and feel pretty good about it. It's a 4%, like pretty much any caster will use this because it's a 4-second, 40% more spell damage multiplier that you will pretty much always use. So it's really cool. I really like that. This is the sort of stuff that I want to be seeing because this was the intended use for Righteous Fire, period. And now it's like it actually is, except it's Vol Righteous Fire instead. Alright, Vol Flame Blast. This is the big one for me. Each subsequential explosion is stronger than the last. That's fucking awesome. Now prevents you from gaining souls. Okay, this is trash. Does it explode initially? Man, that's so much single target. But like, I wish it would explode initially, then explode 5 stages, 5 stages, and 5 stages. I would wish that it would explode 4 times. Then it would be really fucking sick. Then it would justify this. But this is just so big, you know? How can Arc be 25 and 4 seconds while granting you a buff for the entirety of its duration? And this is 30 and 6 seconds. Like, I don't feel like that makes any sense. But maybe they're just super worried about ignites. And I mean, Arc is the thing that really stands out amongst all these changes. So I like the shrinking thing is pretty cool. I do wish that it had like an initial explosion because it says 15 stages. So I'm assuming that it's like 5 stages bigger, GGG. Yeah? Than a regular one. Okay, Volstorm Call. So again, it no longer triggers other Volstorm Calls at the end of its duration, which is very nice because that was really annoying before that you had to use 2 at the same time, otherwise you were screwed. Okay, so I don't really know. It seems like a solid thing. Vol Power Siphon, another interesting one since it's received a nerf recently. Now it's 10% critical star multiplier per power charge. Now grants a power charge when you hit a rare or unique enemy. Now prevents you from gaining Vol Source for 4 seconds after use. Whoa! I mean, the big argument for using Power Siphon over KB. This is it. Honestly. It's not a huge argument, but it's something. Yeah, this is good. 15, can store 2, 4 seconds recharge. Feels fun to play, man, I think. That sounds really fun to play. Volt Spectral Throw, another exciting one, if it's good. Now fires 4 additional projectiles. Now requires 10 souls per use, up from 8, and can store 3 uses. Now prevents you from gaining Vol Source for 6 seconds after use. Wow! Volt Spectral Throw is massive, dude! That seems really fun to play. Oh, Volt Burning Arrow, sorry. Now requires 20 souls per use, up from 12, and can store 3 uses. Now prevents you from gaining Vol Souls for 2 seconds. Ooh! The 2 seconds! Clutched it out at the end. I'm like, this sounds like shit! But then, they come in with the 2 seconds after use. Juicy. Juicy. I like it. I like it, GGG. You spiced it up at the end. I was about to be disappointed. Nah. I like that shit. Damn. Vol Reeve. Now can store up to 2 uses. What? Now prevents you from gaining Vol Souls for 4 seconds after use. What? Vol Reeve can have 2 uses. That's awesome. I mean, it's really boring. But Vol Reeve was always really boring. But that's nice. That makes it a lot more comfortable, man. Trap Support. So this is the interesting one. No longer grants supported skills more trap damage. No longer has a cooldown. Oh, nice. Okay, so they did do what I said. Now has a mana multiplier of 110 down from 140. Now grants supported skills increase trap throwing speed up to 10% at gem level 20. Oh. Yeah, that's like more reasonable, but still really strong. I mean, it's cool. I guess if it's not a multiplier, then it's cool. Hypothermia Support. Now causes supported skills to deal 20% more cold damage over time at gem level 1 up to 39% at gem level 20. Now supports skills which deal damage over time. Wait, they killed Hypothermia. This is additional effect? Now causes support skills to deal 20% more damage. Oh! Power charge on critical support. Now causes support skills to deal 4% more damage per power charge. It's not really that big. It's kind of big. Yeah, it's more damage. It's global. I think the changes are cool. I think they're making a lot of great adjustments. I'm really looking forward to playing the Vol abilities. I think that's really cool. I'm not looking forward to a lot of the RNG. I am looking forward to leveling with Arc and Firestorm again. I think that's cool. I think Stormcold is looking pretty alright, although we do need some clarifications for a bunch of stuff. I think bows are in a pretty good spot for leveling. That's really cool. But yeah, at the end of the day, I am a little bit worried that from like an SSF race point of view, which I know nobody gives a fuck anyway, it's like still gonna be Gladiators, Undercucks, and KB for the safe thing. And yeah, it's not really something that I'm looking forward to, so I'll probably take the risky way out and play some sort of Ignite build and then blame it on the game when my build sucks.